Welcome, everybody, to LinkedIn for Software and Technology Leaders. I'm your host, Matthew Wyatt. Today, my goal is to provide you with as much value as possible, really get into the nitty gritty, take you through my exact process that I use and I teach my clients to use that have produced multiple million-dollar businesses plus. Now, the key with LinkedIn, the key with any social platform is you've got to remember it's a social platform. So first thing, let's get this out of the way. We're not going to be talking about sending, long emails about how your PHP programmers are the best and they're $12.50 an hour. Those types of messages, and I'm sure you're the same, they get immediately deleted because you're not trying to build a relationship with me or with anybody. You're just trying to, it's essentially, I think somebody coined the phrase, show up and throw up. They just end up in your DMs. They're going to send you a big long email. And if they send 10 million of them, let's hope somebody replies. And that's their marketing strategy. We just like to be a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more clear. So whilst today is for software and tech leaders, that is the people that I only ever work with, software and technology people. I've been in the industry for 25 years, love the space. The principles that we apply here today are going to be across every organization. Just the examples I'm going to use for software and technology businesses. Well, I'm going to we'll carry on with any meeting. I like to have an agenda. And thank you for payroll and compliance space. That is a big that's certainly an important place to work in. And if I've got any examples, I'll see if I can weave that in. So let's get into it. Like any meeting, I like to have an agenda. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the 4 critical impact areas. And this doesn't apply to LinkedIn. This is how you should think about your business. You need to be taking action in each one of these 4 areas every single month at least. And doing that, you'll be able to grow your business. The second one there is, there we go, I can use my mouse or my keyboard rather than my mouse. How to stand out in a crowded market. LinkedIn has almost 1 billion people on it. Lots and lots of people are messaging you and I and everybody else in between saying, hey, buy my thing. Let's see if we can stand out by really understanding our clients' needs and wants and desires. We are going to go for about 45 minutes today. I like to leave 15 minutes at the end. I do speak very quickly. The only remedy for that is for you to listen faster. I get very excited about the topics and helping people. So that's all I can do for you. I'm sorry. Provide no actual help there whatsoever in relation to understanding this. The recording is going to be made available. And if you message me, I can provide you with any of the templates, screenshots, slides, literally anything from this, because I believe personally that I am happy to, well, I believe that I get paid for implementation and high level execution of what our organization does, which is sales and marketing strategy and execution for software and technology businesses. I don't get paid for ideas. I think ideas are ephemeral, that anybody can have an idea. My brother-in-law is a brilliant person who has lots and lots of brilliant ideas, more brilliant ideas than I've ever had. It's just that the execution, he's working on it. It's getting better. But when he was young, he had $4 million ideas before breakfast every day. Just the execution. So I get paid to execute. I get paid to help you generate more leads and close more deals. So how to stand out in a crowded market. Third thing is the best setup of your profile. So tin tac stuff. We're going to go in and we're going to say, do this, do this, do this. It's going to be really very narrow when it comes to specifically telling you what to do. We're going to talk about what content drives engagement. There's lots of different types of content. You're looking at some content right now. You've got to make sure that we're really unpacking for our customers and demonstrating our value, unpacking our value, demonstrating value to clients and customers, and being an insider. People don't want to be sold to by somebody from outside. They want to be shown that you're living with their struggles, or you've recognized their struggles and you've solved their struggles multiple times over. Therefore, you understand them. Because the better you understand a client, the more qualified you are to actually help them solve that problem. My exact LinkedIn workflow, literally step by step, what I do every single week or month. And of course, a bonus for the black belts. This is to sort of level up if you really want to get into it. So let's carry on. So who am I? Half of you have probably been here before and attended my webinars. Half of you haven't. So for the people that have, Sorry, you can hear this again. So my name's Matthew. I started my first tech business when I was 22. That's about 25 years ago now. And over that time, I've always been the salesperson, worked with amazing marketers, grew my first business to about $10 million a year in the software space. Oh, by the way, every single one of my businesses has been in software and technology. So I grew that to about $10 million a year selling a product into the market, had a great time, grew a really good business, continued to grow that over time. I got to a point in the marketplace where it was time to start cutting and selling. So we did exactly that. About 9, 10 years ago now, we sold it all, kept some residuals, moved to Bali, had a year off. After about 10 months of that, that was enough for me and my family. And so we came back here. And during the last 8, 9 years, I've been doing consulting, helping people with their sales team, helping people build structures inside their organization and the strategy, because a sales and marketing department should be seen as a machine. You need to be able to have certain inputs to create certain outputs. Lots and lots of my clients and my team have been technology people, that they know when they write a piece of code, all things considered, it should work. Same with sales and marketing. You put the right code in, it should produce the result that you're looking for. And so that's how I think about sales and marketing in the technology, or in any space, but specifically for technology. So for the last 8 years, so about 2, 3 years ago now, I was building really successful sales teams, putting the strategy in, and then finding that the marketers that they were bringing in were typically underqualified. The marketer that can sell shoes on a Tuesday is unlikely to have the vocabulary and the capability of selling compliance and payroll software on a Wednesday, because just it's a different market. One is to B2C or business to customer, the other one's B2B. And in the B2B environment, we know that sometimes it's B2G, government, B2B, business, but actually what is missing in that whole piece is understanding that they're part of an organization, but they're also a human. So I try to think H to H, human to human selling and marketing. And by doing that, we can engage more effectively. So that's what I've done, and so I've actually started a marketing company. That's because I just didn't feel that those marketers had the qualifications to speak about enterprise data warehouses or compliance software or HR or payroll, whatever it might be. I've just got the vocabulary, the experience, the understanding of how to take a typically sometimes a dry subject and bring it to life so your clients can actually engage with it. So I've been doing that for a couple of years, and we've moved towards more of a specific way of operating. We look at how the customer, what the end result the customer wants. So if the customer wants market qualified leads, so we will put together the advertising, the content, the strategy, the emails, all the things and behind that to deliver the client need. Some clients want sales qualified leads. They want somebody already qualified. So we'll put together the software and technology and the content and the marketing, the advertising and the outreach. And then we'll also provide the person with an SDR, sales development resource type of person. So we think about what the client wants, and we backfill everything in between there to deliver that end result, which is leads or sales, depends on what the customer wants. So that's what I do, very customer centric, and that's exactly why these webinars exist. Is I want to provide you with massive amounts of value. So tell me what industry you're in. Somebody's already done that, so I've already started mentioning it. Tell me what industry you're in. What do you do? Who do you sell to? A great way to think about this, and it might be your first challenge or a first takeaway here, is try to find a way to explain what you do in this format. I'll give you the heuristic, or I'll give you the way of thinking about it, and then you can fill in the blanks like a Mad Lib, I think they call it. So we help X to do Y through Z. I help software and technology companies to generate more leads and sales through sales and marketing strategy and execution. We help X to do Y through Z. So try that out for yourself. You don't have to write it in the comments straight away, because you need to think about it. And if you so Einstein said that if you can't explain something to a 5-year-old, you don't understand it well enough, which is terribly disappointing for people who are in my customer base, who are doing incredibly complex things, and it takes them 5 minutes to explain what they do. So the more simply you can explain the idea, the further back from out of the weeds you can get, the better you are going to be at marketing or at communicating the value that you present to the marketplace. So we've had a few people. I just need to scroll this down. Automotive, g'day, Oliver, thank you, Olivera, James. paper digital forms. That's important. There's too much paper out there. G'day, Matt. It's been a while. Matt Carroll, a client of mine, great CIO, virtual CIO. Yeah, so I thank you for those. Thank you, Olivera, James, and Matt. Appreciate it. And I'll see what I can weave into as we go forward. So just to wrap up, and this also might be another thing. So I've given you that we help X to do Y through Z, way of thinking. Another way, if you've ever had a client say to you, well, what do you do and who do you do it for? And you provide a little bit of context there. One of the things that I email out is a document called What Clients Say. And that's about 10, 15 pages of various testimonials. The clients have said nice things about me. What that does is it just speeds the sales process up. I do that specifically to speed the sales process up. I do it because clients want to know that you know what you're doing and they can trust you with their money. Because way too many times I've employed the person who can sell sandals on a Tuesday and now they're going to sell payroll solutions on a Wednesday. It's very, very difficult. So you need to make sure that when your clients are communicating with you, as a first piece of content that you send out, send them what clients have to say. I learned this from I used to be the CEO of Velocity Selling, which was a global sales organization. We trained Fortune 500 companies around the world. And one of the things of Bob Urachuk, he's the founder of that business. He would always have a what clients say. His folio was about as thick as this. It was almost a phone book type of thing. So we're continually building and retrieving client testimonials. We want to make sure that we're giving our customers the comfort, because that's really what a customer wants. Is they want comfort that you're qualified, you know what you're doing, and what you're going to do is demonstrate and provide an ROI to them. This is not necessarily about LinkedIn, but you get the idea. I want to give you these valuable pieces wrapped up in a LinkedIn, I guess, structure. So I won't read through these for you, but essentially people saying nice things. I'm not going to show you saying not nice, but I do have a specific way to working with software and technology businesses. Okay, quick LinkedIn facts. Almost 1 billion people here. 200 countries worldwide, complete and active LinkedIn profile pages are 5 times more impressions and interactions. So just think about what it requires to be complete. Takes you about half an hour to an hour. Doesn't really, it's not that hard. Write a few bits up. ChatGPT can provide it, but please don't copy and paste directly out of ChatGPT. It sounds wooden. It is heartless. And the reason you started your business, the reason you're helping, the value you're bringing to your customer, that's the stuff we want to get out and present to the world. Certainly in our about pages, certainly in what we do, and we help X to do Y through Z, all of those ways of thinking. 40,000 new skills, 3 new members every second, $63 million companies. Your customers are on LinkedIn if you're selling B2B. Even if you're selling B2C, your customers are on LinkedIn. I must be of the age and maybe the look. I'm getting approached by a lot of fitness people saying I should, join up to the fitness program, which is purely a B2C play, a business to customer play. Quick question. I get this a lot. Should I be posting on my company page or my personal page? Well, let's look at what the data tells us. I'm a data-driven business. That's the world I live in. What's the data tell us? The data tells us that people are way more interesting than companies. Simple fact of the matter. So therefore, the most followed profiles are Bill Gates and Richard Branson. These two people are the most followed profiles on LinkedIn. So post on your personal and then repost to your business. If you have a look at mine, I've almost got 13,000, 12,500, 13,000 connections on LinkedIn. And my business page is, I think it's got like 500. I don't spend any time really driving engagement to my business because I am my business, but also at the same time with the people are more interested in what you think, not what the company thinks. They know they're going to get a company line out of a company, but they want to know what you think. How do you operate inside this space? How do you help? So there's your another little nugget for you to take away. Personal first, company second. So how do we stand out in a crowded market? And LinkedIn is an incredibly crowded market. And what we do is we deploy a thing called social selling. Social selling. And as I said earlier, social platforms, social media are social. Don't start the conversation with, hey, join my Zoom webinar to make millions of dollars in crypto. I actually got that message the other day. And I have no heartache with crypto. I am in crypto. But it was the initial message. It's just no, hello, how are you? No qualification, no thanks for connecting, no, how's it going? None of that. It's just join my webinar, buy my thing, get rich. Not going to happen. So first of all, be a human. Now, when I say talk about social selling, this is how I like to define social selling. So social selling is like making friends online with people, with making friends online who happen to need what you're selling. It's about using social media to chat, help, and connect with people, turning those virtual coffee dates into real business deals. And that's exactly what we've been doing here at Tech Talk and my other businesses when I was just MatthewWhite.com and Velocity Selling. It's just about that, being a human, communicating with people and going and driving it towards an eventual, not necessarily a coffee date, but certainly a conversation. All right, so hopefully that's embedded in your mind there. Social selling, be social, have a conversation, don't just jump straight in. Imagine if you went to your significant other and just said, hey, let's get married on day one. It might be a bit challenging to go from I don't know you to let's get married. That's a lot of steps to take in between. So that's what it's like in social, certainly in LinkedIn and any other platform. Start being a human. Here are the 4 critical impact areas. Regardless of LinkedIn, of any part of your business, if you do these 4 and you measure these 4, you will have greater levels of success. So first of all, let's go through them one at a time. First of all, your target market. Know exactly who you sell to. So we're running 2 different campaigns at the moment. I won't tell you who for or what the niche is. It might be I won't talk about it. But essentially, one customer, absolutely narrow, absolutely clear, provides a product for a certain market segment, puts that in the advert. We in about 3 weeks have generated about 31 leads. And we ask for the company name. We get all this information from driving these adverts and these leads. Our customer is very, very happy with that. Another customer can do everything for anybody. They provide a service that can be attached to anything, and they've received 2 leads in about 2 weeks. So we're having to convince that customer to narrow and narrow and narrow and find that niche soon, because customers want to work with experts, not generalists. So if you provide generalists things, another one of my clients provides an incredible system that has really broad application, right? Everything from feedlot recipes through to cafes, through to medical, legal businesses, and they've actually solved incredible problems for these organizations. The challenge they had before coming to us is they are for everything for everybody, which meant they were nothing to anybody. So we've been asking them to narrow and narrow and narrow, and now we've got that under control and we're going after it. So really know your target market. People want to be called out. If you're in the so payroll, great, payroll and compliance for mining, for manufacturing, for logistics, for so I know you probably can do multiple things across different businesses. If you're a CIO, Matt, I know you can do it in many different businesses, but I want you to think about, let's pick one, write a little case study, write some content around it, and then just go find every single person in that industry and make sure they know about what you do. Thing is with marketing, thing with content, thing with collateral, marketing collateral, you're not tattooing it on your forehead. You can change. So let's say you exhaust the manufacturing space. Now we're going to go after logistics or whatever it might be. So, but just pick one and go for it. Yes, you might have 3 or 4 clients, but pick one and go for it. You will find far greater. You will go much faster and generate far more leads by really nailing your target market, which talks specifically to LinkedIn, because LinkedIn gives you incredible targeting. The second one there is your circle of influence. Now that you know your target, I sort of already alluded to it. The second thing is get known by everybody. Your circle of influence. How many people know what you do and how you do it? Obscurity is your enemy. The only reason everybody here doesn't have an abundance of deals, an abundance of sales, an abundance of money is not enough people know about you. That's a fact. If everybody knew what you did, you would not have time to show up to a webinar like this. So I want you to really think about that. How do I get known by more people? There's, you can put out free content like this. You can do advertising. You can do cold outreach, DM or email, or, so you've got to get known. You've got to get known by those people. networking. Like I've got a whole other webinar on how to build your circle of influence. There's 20 different ways. But you make sure you get known by more people. Once again, LinkedIn, connect with the right people, have the right communication, which brings us to a third one, which is your relationship. You've got to build a relationship around your value that you offer to them. It's not just good enough just to be connected and then say, hey, buy my thing or join my webinar. Excuse me. What we've got to do is make sure I add value. Hey, here's a resource I developed for a customer just like you. Hey, we've solved payroll problems in the mining sector for a company like this. You don't necessarily have to say the name, but you might say the largest mining company in the world or the largest resource company in the world, or allude to your customer if you can't say the customer name. And so we've solved this problem for these people. Their challenges were A, B, and C. And we solved them by doing D, E, and F. I thought you might be interested because we communicated with a tech services manager like yourself, or a whatever it might be. Really specific. The person feels called out. They get it. So real relationships. And the last thing is your offer. You've got to ask them to do something. Show up like you all have, engage, communicate, figure out how you're going to communicate with them so they communicate with you, and you can build an offer from there. An offer might be, learn something, do something, download something, whatever it might be. You've got to get them to engage. Now, I've put this in here at the beginning of the webinar simply because this is really important, and there are a dozen ways in each one of these critical impact areas that you need to identify. For me to go through that with you would cost a couple of $1,000s to really build that out, map that out for you. What we did is we took that piece of consulting, we actually then wrote it into a document and then put it online with some questions against it. So I'm going to invite you, if you like, just to write this down. Go to scorecard.techtalk.co. This will actually take you through the 4 key areas, the 4 impact areas, and give you a score on each area, and then give you a lot of work went into this. Then give you 3 or 4 action items to take inside each one of those, so you can be more rounded as a business. You might have real clarity on your target customer, but nobody knows about you. Or we can do everything for everybody, and I'm great at building a relationship once I actually start speaking with them. That's cool, but you now need to get really clear on your target. Then you need to be known by everybody. Then you need to make an offer. So it depends on which part might be, and it might only be one. You might be great at 3 of them, but if you're no good at making offers, you're just putting a lot of easy, fresh, useful, and albeit pointless content out there without actually asking them to buy something from you. So techtalk.co, scorecard.techtalk.co. Jump on that webpage at the end of this session. Takes a couple of minutes to go through. Then you get emailed a report of exactly what you need to do. But let's carry on with LinkedIn. So 4 tasks. I'm keeping this reasonably high level. I ran a 4-day workshop at the end of last year on LinkedIn. So I'm trying to compress and condense the broad thinking into 45 minutes. So bear with me. As I said earlier, I'm going to speak quickly. Let's hopefully I can give you enough value in this time. So number 1, spruce up your profile. Includes professional photo, compelling headline, detailed summary, and highlights of expertise and accomplishments. I know this doesn't sound like really very technical stuff, but you'd be surprised how many people go through and go, oh, I've got, managing director of ABC Corp. Well, that's fine. That might be true, but it's not very interesting. And I'll show you how to make it interesting in a moment. Number 2, know your target audience. Talked about that. Understand your best fit buyers and what makes them tick is essential, and then use products like Sales Navigator to find them. Provide value through content, obviously, and then, of course, engage authentically. So I've already talked about these things already. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's talk about your target customer. So not all customer profiles tell the full story on LinkedIn. They will provide you with some information. For example, here, male, born in 1948, raised in the UK, married twice, enormous residence, wealthy and famous. These 2 people are pretty much the same customer. These are the 2 same people. This is what it feels like sometimes when you're targeting, but you haven't done the work. You've done the big work. We work with mining companies. Cool. But who do you work with in those mining companies? Well, we enter through the tech services manager because they've got a problem about this. Then we do that. Or we work with, depends on who it might be. We work with field services businesses to digitize their forms. That's great. But who's actually in pain here? The CEO is probably not in pain because they've got a bunch of people solving it. Then you've got the people in the field who are in pain, but they have no ability to actually make a decision. So you need to find the one up. Maybe it's a field services manager who's hearing about the pain, who knows that it could work better. So you enter the business that way, and then you work your way up to the CEO, whoever might be looking to make the business more efficient. And so when it comes to customer profiles, you need to understand the business, understand the people. But of course, when you think about these two people, they're not the same. I've been using this. This is one of my favorite slides. I've been using this slide since I was Prince Charles. So these people have a very different needs, wants, and desires in the marketplace. So do your customers, even if they look the same. So be really clear about your customer, and make sure that you're not trying to sell doe skin boots to people like Ozzy Osbourne. You're not going to get very far. All right. So define your best fit clients. How do we do that? What does your perfect client look like? Think about your top 5 to 10 clients and organizations. And if you're a startup, you're aspirational. Who do you really want to sell to? But find that organization, right? What makes them ideal? Are they easy to satisfy and work with? Are they profitable to serve? And do they pay on time? Do they readily refer you? These are your perfect customers. I was doing this work with a client, and they worked in the mining sector, and we recognized that their biggest customer didn't fit any of these. They were terrible, awful to satisfy. They weren't great to work with. They were somewhat profitable. They didn't pay on time, and they didn't provide any referrals. They're actually, so we had to think about how do we manage that client? And we fixed that, but it took some time, a couple of years to fix that, because then you've got to have people to change their minds. People don't like to change their minds very often. So it takes time and reinforcement of an idea to get there. So how do you identify a best fit client? Think about what your clients are. Ideal clients are always best fit for your service and products. And the reverse is also true. How many times have we sold to people who aren't the perfect right fit personally? How many times have I sold? I won't call anybody here out, but I've personally sold to a bunch of people over 25 years who have not been the right fit for the organization, and they've taken up way too much time in customer service. They don't finance is bugging me about them, or they're bugging them about finance. It's becomes really painful, and the juice is not worth the squeeze. I've got to a point in some cases where I've actually called the customer and offered refunds. It is not great to work with organizations who aren't a good fit, because they just drag you down. They take all your time and energy and effort, and you lose the will to continue to run your business often, because it's just so much, the one negative overtakes the 5 positives, and it's really difficult to carry on if you've just got this weight on you all the time. So really be clear about the target customer you want to go after. So what do? List those people. What features do they have in common? Why do they choose you? What triggered the need? Here's a worksheet. So here we go. This is something you can use on LinkedIn. So write down the best customers, what verticals. So this is the stuff you will pull from LinkedIn: vertical, size, location, complexity, ownership, those types of things. Why they chose you last time. Why did they choose you? And this is so funny. So many clients come to me and go, oh, well, we the referral, or some other reason that they give. And I go, well, but that's fine, but you were referred, but they still made a choice to give you money for a service. And they didn't just do that because you were a referral. I've been referred plenty of things I haven't bought because it doesn't really fit with what I want. So why did they choose you? And if you don't know, this is a really great thing to do. Matt, you should be doing this, is call the clients you've worked with in the past and ask them why they worked with you. What was the previous day before working with you? How they found the process? Why did they work with you? Because what that'll do 2 things. First of all, remind them that you exist, and 9 times out of maybe 8 times out of 10, you'll get more business out of them. Happens a lot. And second of all, you get intel that you didn't have in the past. So please think about that. Event that triggered the need. What is the events going on out in the world that causes people to want to change technologies, buy a new payroll software, make sure they go from having a clipboard to a tablet? What's the process? What happens there? Well, maybe it's legislation. They need data traceability, chain of evidence, so to speak. Maybe it's a new leader came into the role. maybe it's the business got required. There's lots of different things that can happen that has a person being okay with the pain that they're in up until the point which they're not. Because for most solutions that I talk to in in my customer base, and certainly out there in the world that I speak to, the problem's being solved already. You're not solving anything that's unique. They're solving it poorly, probably with Microsoft Excel. Nothing wrong with Excel, but that's the go-to because it's free. They don't count the hundreds of hours it spends building pivot tables and reporting out of that, but it's free, so we don't need to buy any more software. It also doesn't annoy technology people who go, well, we don't, by making no decision, by choosing not to purchase new software, that's a safe option because they don't have to worry about firewalls and incursions, all that sort of stuff. So you need to think about what the events are. Competitors, be realistic. Who are you competing against? Internal, external, services, and also vulnerabilities. Now, where are you vulnerable with your existing customers? You've got some customers. Where are you vulnerable? Be real. All right. Let's get back to your profile. Now that you know this stuff, let's go look at your profile. Tagline should capture the essence of your professional identity in a few words. Think about the terms people might use when searching for a professional with your skills. Managing director of ABC Corp, you won't be found. But if you go, hey, we help, for me, for example, helping software and technology companies scale through strategy, sales, and marketing. Okay. One of our clients, Michael, he still wanted to put founder in there, but then we got him to add stuff to it. So founder of Mobile Data Anywhere. So we help engineering and environmental consultancies transform their mobile data collection reporting processes. That's why I know a little bit about what you do, James. So we've got these things in here and we're solving a problem. We can use this real estate quite professionally, quite successfully. So think about that. We help X to do Y through Z. Remember how I got you to do that earlier? Now apply that to LinkedIn. Right. Professional photo and background image. With cameras and lighting, it's not much effort to get a good photo of yourself. AI even. My wife's used an AI image for a profile photo. But please avoid some of these mistakes. If you're out on the beach drinking beer or in the bathroom, these are terrible. I just put these in because they make me laugh. Imagine thinking that you're going to attract professional results when you put this stuff up. That makes me laugh. This is not Instagram, so be professional. Anyway, back to it. Consistency is the key. I grabbed this from a report of ours. You can see here that we're going to, so the total bottom right-hand corner, we get a 27.84% acceptance rate of outreach messages. So this is throughout usually I do about 100 a week. And throughout that time, however many weeks that was there. So you can see that we had 270 new people accepted into my system. And then I've got another group, Oceania, so I've broadened that reach, and I've got 43% response there. So consistency is a key. I've been doing this for years. You don't get 12,500 unless you're a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. You're not going to have hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of people wanting to connect with you. You just got to keep chipping away at it. Hang on, I've got another comment here. Let's check. Oh, perfect. Thank you, James. Well done. So consistency is the key. Also, you can see the bit of I'm alluding to the next thing I'm going to talk about, LinkedIn newsletter subscribers. The most undervalued thing at the moment on LinkedIn is a LinkedIn newsletter. I had a friend of mine in media relations who said, oh, I've got all these articles. I'm going to put them up on a blog. I said, okay, cool. Can you make them a LinkedIn newsletter? And he's like, oh, no, that's hard and needs artwork and all of wringing of hands and clutching of pearls, and didn't want to do it. It was all very hard. I said, well, look, mate, just do this. And I got him to share his screen. I said, just click this and click that and do this. And we were talking away, and I was just sort of friendly doing it. I said, oh, see what you've done there? You go, no, well, what are we doing? He said, oh, you've just created a newsletter. It's literally 3 or 4 minutes. Go to creator mode in LinkedIn, turn it on, go to publish an article and make it a newsletter, and call it something generic that other people in your industry want. So I write the sales and marketing for technology newsletter. Obviously, People could write the transforming, digital transformation newsletter, or the virtual CIO newsletter. I don't know. These are not great names. I'm coming up with them on the spot, but you get the idea. So you've got to know your buyer and their problems. Great way to do that is have you thought about their jobs and their criteria? Tech services manager, for example, in mining. So just with James, I'd like you to find an industry. You talk about building, construction, manufacturing, trades, and retail. Find one and go after that and make sure everybody in retail knows you, or trades, or manufacturing, or construction, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Just pick one and go for it. That will provide you way more leads than going really broad. Most people don't take my advice because they think they might miss out, but by being a non-expert, you don't get anybody. Anyway, so think about the people, and I'm sort of picking on you now, James, but I'm trying to help. So if you want to understand the person behind the role, it's easy to satisfy and convert them if you really understand them. So how do you understand the people you deal with? Who is the person? What's the level you go into the business? How do you talk to them? What are they on about? So here's the best hack that I've come up with. I teach it in lots and lots of webinars. Hopefully you're doing it now if you've already heard me do a webinar before. Find the role that you're most likely to engage with, not the CIO, not the CEO. Most of the time, it's not the CEO. It's going to be somebody in that space. Find that role. Then go to Seek or any of the job platforms that are out there. Type that role in. You will find job listings for those types of roles most of the time. When you find those jobs rolled, now you get to be told their KPIs, their education, their expectation, their salary expectations. You get to know everything about them, how they're measured, the type of organization they are. You know everything about that person. So when you're communicating with a project manager in a mining company, you know what they're supposed to be doing, what their job is. So when you're writing content, you can say, "Oh, have you ever had this problem?" Or do you understand? Or when this happens, like so much more powerful than saying, "Hey, would you like to buy my project management software?" It's, have you ever had this happen in a mining situation? Because you know exactly who they are, you can communicate far more effectively. All right. So buyers of technology are people just like you and me. They have roles and responsibilities, hopes and fears. B2B should be thinking H to H, human to human. So here we go. Write down their fears, 3 alternatives they could choose, drawbacks of those alternatives, how you remove those fears and overcome obstacles. It's not simple. It's quite difficult. We've gone through it with a few of you online here, and you've just got to revisit that stuff. Revisit those keys. Here's a worked example. This person might be a CIO. This person might be requiring to ensure releases are on time. They've got a DIY in-house solution. They're going to employ more people. Probably even harder to ensure releases are on time. But with your software, in this fantasy world of software, you might find automation, control, and processes is how you solve that problem. So you want to think about what questions keep them awake at night, the drawbacks of the current choice that they're making, and how you solve for that problem. Okay, I know I'm going really quick. Jump in and ask any questions as we go. Your relationships. B2B buyers see 13 content pieces before they make any purchasing decisions. It's a lot of content, a lot of effort. But they might go to your LinkedIn page, scroll through, they'll see that you're communicating regularly. They see that you're putting valuable pieces of content out there. They might get on your email list. You can email them. You can put stuff out. So there's lots of ways you can get content out there. You just got to have enough content for them to go, yep, this person's qualified. Great way to get content to follow people around is using retargeting, Google retargeting. Get somebody to land on your page. You've load a cookie on, and then follow them around the internet. We find that really successful. People might not engage in the first instance or even the second, but eventually if they're receiving emails and they're seeing your advertising, they're going to come back and go, "Oh, I've seen you everywhere." It's just, it's Google advertising. Google's really good at that. Google's more of a bottom of the funnel activity. I use Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook and LinkedIn, and of course, Instagram at the top of the funnel stuff, just awareness level. So, quality and quantity to put stuff out. Make it good. Don't use AI to write 20 what I see the other day, write a month's worth of content in an hour or 20 minutes or whatever it was. And it was, I've seen the tool and I've played with those tools, and it's just garbage. And informed customers who really are looking to pay a premium for your service are not going to buy into that stuff. They're going to read it and go, this is junk. This could have been written by anybody. So put a bit of heart into it. Use the tool, but put a bit of heart in it. Put a bit of yourself into it. Send an email this week. Say here's an action item for you. Ask people to buy. Remember my offer? Ask people to buy. So ask the magic 9-word email. Magic 9-word email is really simple. Are you still interested in outcome? Whatever outcome it is. Not, are you interested in hiring a virtual CIO? That's not an outcome. The outcome might be, are you interested in getting your technology under control? Are you interested in, if you're looking to do digital forms, it might be, are you still interested in streamlining your processes? Is streamlining your processes still a high priority? Send a really short email with one question to your database, and you'll get back a response. Even if they say no, at least they're out of your system. You don't have to talk to them anymore. So when was the last time you spoke with your customers? Very important. Just call your last 5 customers. Just call your last 5 customers. I'm asking you to do work here. I know you probably thought this is going to be infotainment, but it's important. So what I want you to think about is put that information out there. Thanks. Pointing the amount of messages I get from competitors asking if you benefit from the hearing. Right. Yeah. Understand who you're talking to. It's so crazy that people put out messages, and I get messages all the time asking if they want to rank one on Google. Like, seriously, I do it. I mean, my company does SEO, and I know that it takes 6 to 12 months to actually get people that type of result. It just seems crazy that these businesses are out there promising unrealistic things to people like me. So it's great. So call your top 5 customers. Actually, call any 5 customers. Make 5 phone calls this week. Call them up. How are you going? What motivated you to buy from us in the beginning? Before you bought from us, what were the 2 or 3 things you were dealing with that made the decision to come on board with us? It's a powerful conversation. You'll get so much energy out of that. I actually was running a business years ago, my first company, and sometimes I get down about the whole thing. Too many meetings, too many things taking me away from what I actually really like doing, which is talking to customers. And I would go and call 4 or 5 customers and just say, how you going? How's it all tracking for you? I would get buoyed and energized by those conversations. All right, I know we're running over time already. We're at 45 minutes. If you've got to drop out, I know that you might have to, but I'll keep going here. Thank you for hanging around for those. Engaging content ideas, technology marketing and sales, almost 2,000 subscribers. Webinars on LinkedIn, like what you're watching today. I had 100 and something people register. Not, less than half of those people actually showed up today, but that's fine. I'm going to be able to communicate with all those 100. Thank you very much for registering, etc., etc. Communicate. Here are the 4 or 5 keys that came out of it. There are some resources offered. Would you like to see them? That type of thing. Get to communicate, add value. Carousels. Use Canva. Carousels are great. You can put in an idea and then just have it. Go to Canva, type in carousel. You get a template. Just type in, what you want, and then you can tell the story. People will click through that, and they will actually get more value out of it because they're interacting. That's engagement. That's step-by-step process. All right, we're coming to wrap up the LinkedIn process. This is the steps. Here we go. First of all, get the target right. Talked about that already. Second of all, create your message scripts. I have a list of scripts, and message me later and I'll send you the template. That's actually an offer I can make to you, is if you email me, say, hey, Matthew, can I have the template? I have a message M1 all the way through to about M5, message 5, and saying, what the outreach message is. Actually, that outreach message that I wrote, I test and measure that all the time. And I actually found that we're able to bring our connection rate from around about 20% to about 27% of connections. And that's 20 people a week to 27 people a week. That's not a small number over time. By just changing a couple of words in my outreach connection message. Always put a message when you're looking to connect with somebody. Don't just click the connect button. It doesn't have the best results. Create message scripts. Third is successful connection. Enrich the data. And this is the key that I do, is I push that data into my CRM. Yes, James, you do need Sales Navigator. Um, it just makes life much easier. Whatever, if your hourly rate's, let's say, $100 an hour, and you save 5 hours, you're way in front of Sales Navigator costs of about $100 a month. So you'll be way in front. I know that subscriptions feel like death by a thousand cuts, but this one is, if you're looking to connect with your customers, this one's a good one to spend money on. Enrich the data. Find their email, find their phone, find their business, pull all that data together, and then put them into your CRM. What I do then is that I then send them an email. And the email is simply, thanks for connecting on LinkedIn. And then the next one is add value, add value, add value, add as much value. Don't ask them to buy anything. Because unless they trust you, you're going to get unsubscribed. Over time, probably about once a week, one out of about 30 people emails me back up one this morning saying, hey, Matt, nice to be connected on LinkedIn, but I don't really want newsletters. That's cool. Send back an email saying, no problems at all. Thanks very much. Unsubscribe them. But I've still got them as a connection on LinkedIn. If we can have them on 2 platforms, way better than just on one. Invite to grab resources. So you can invite them to grab resources via a direct message or via email. People go, oh, well, I don't have time to write a white paper or an ebook or a listicle. Listicle is just the top 5 ways that mining companies solve payroll problems, or the top 6 downfalls of trying to collect data on on paper rather than in digital, or whatever it might be. The top 10 reasons why a CIO won't work in your organization. I like to sometimes go the other way, or top 5 reasons why a CIO is a terrible idea for your organization. You like chaos, you like data breaches, that type of thing. But you have a bit of fun with it. So offer the white paper, you're adding value. Once again, you're adding value. Last one is invite them to a webinar or a one-on-one. As I said, this was going to be the magician showing you behind the scenes here. I'm showing you exactly what I'm doing. I've made offers. I've said, hey, grab this download. I've also got you on this webinar. And not that I'm pouncing upon you that you're saying, oh, I've got these deals coming to me. But what I want you to think about is, I want you to think about this process. Have I generated trust? Have I built a relationship? If the answer is yes, then why wouldn't you engage with me? If no, then no harm. I've got a dozen or so people, more actually, a lot more on this call. Some people, most people, it's not going to be for them. Just that hopefully I've added value through time. So commenting. Now, this is underserved. I think this is once again an undervalued. The highest ROI thing you can do right now is insightful, useful comments. So provide useful comments, not great posts or well done. Don't use ChatGPT to come up with saying the same thing back to them and then saying good stuff or whatever. Try to be insightful on those comments. A good approach is to find your own voice. And even if the person is making an idea, agree or disagree, or add another way of thinking about it, or don't crap on them and say, oh, that's a terrible idea, do it this way, but say, well, have you considered this, or what was your experience with that? Great. And communicate, go backwards and forwards, become recognized for the quality of your thoughts, read your further comments, and also create a conversation. So they might have put a post out, you say something, somebody says something down here, then you can comment on that. And why would you do that? So a friend of mine, I'll go through the rest of this, but use a strategy to add quality and ask questions to keep them. PS strategy. So, by the way, I use Gunner Habits. That's the person talking here. Friend of mine, written 2 books on LinkedIn, probably worth finding and looking up. So he turned this conversation, or turns conversation like this, first of all, into a job at Hootsuite, which is one of the world's biggest social companies. He got a job there. And he's just then done the exact same thing, getting another job at Active Campaign, which is another massive marketing organization. He is an absolute master at the commenting into engagement, he doesn't necessarily need sales. He finds different roles. So so he's still an entrepreneur. He's written, I think, 12 or 13 books, some crazy number like that, on various things. The ones for LinkedIn are in English. The others are, I think they're in German. Anyway, so he is a great person to go follow on LinkedIn, making a recommendation for him. I get nothing out of it, but it's worth having a think about. Speaking of recommendations, as we're going to wrap up now, quality over quantity. It's better to have a few heartfelt detail recommendations than many generic ones. So go and find the recommendations. Recommendation tells a story about specific examples of your contribution. Reciprocity. You write a recommendation. Guess what? They'll probably write one for you as well. So here's another task for you. Write a recommendation. If you like this webinar, go to my profile, write a recommendation. Matthew's webinar on LinkedIn was great. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it. I learned this or this or this. And you know what? I'll probably find your profile and think about, is there something that some value I can add back to you? Same thing, colleagues, ex-business people that you've worked with. Matt, I know you've worked with lots of different people across a whole range of industries. Go back and make some recommendations. Let them know you've made recommendations. I bet they provide you one as well. That's just going to help your social score go up as well. Social score sounds like a Black Mirror episode, but there is actually a thing called a social selling index in LinkedIn, which shows you how you rank in LinkedIn when it comes to social selling. Endorsements, same thing. Prioritize your skills. What's interesting is LinkedIn has, if you might get in, and so I've been endorsed for project management. That's not something I want to get known for, or something I actually don't even want to do. So what I've done is I've gone in there, edited, and grabbed that and moved it down the bottom. And then all the ones that are 99 plus, which is the maximum number of endorsements. I've got endorsements for sales, marketing, strategy, B2B marketing, that type of sales scripting. They're all sitting at maxed out numbers at the top. So that's what people see most, and that's what I want to get known for. If you want to get known for a certain thing, move that to the top, ask people to endorse you. Once again, rearrange your skills, ask someone to endorse you, and endorse somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining today. I've got another bonus for you. If you would like for me to help you discover your path of least resistance with your business within LinkedIn, more than happy to take you through a 45-minute Focus Finder workshop. This 45 minutes is really, really narrow. We talk about the LinkedIn. I understand a bit about your business. Extended Q&A. I'll give you some successful campaigns, templates, scripting, everything you might need there. And I'm going to give that to you for nothing, because, as I said, I give away all my best ideas. I just get paid for implementation, and that's hopefully where I can assist you in the future. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes now. Has anybody got any questions? More than happy to hang around for an extra minute or so to answer any questions. I know I've answered questions as I've gone along. If we don't have any questions, I can wrap it up. But yeah, I'll just wait for an extra second, see if there's any questions. Doesn't look like it. That's cool. Email me if you come up with something. I'm sure as soon as I switch the webinar off, you'll be like, oh, that question. So one thing, if you're still hanging around, and I know some of you have, we've got a hand up. Hey, John, would you mind typing a question into the Q&A box, please? Find the Q&A box and type it there. And John's got his hand up. If you could just type it in, John, I'll hang around for an extra second. He's taking his hand down now. I'm not sure. I might have. Oh, he's logged off. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, for those, as a secret bonus for those couple of you that hung around, I want you to think about the content that you're putting out there. Think about the right tools for the job at the right time. If your customers are unaware that they've got a problem, don't send them a case study or a comparison. If they're only just barely understanding the problem, don't offer a proposal or point of sale. A lot of SaaS businesses make a real mistake by offering a free trial, because a free trial is work, and a person might not even really know that they've got a real problem. So think about your free trials. Think about when you're actually offering that free trial. Think about what effort the person has to go through. So Demand Gen Squared is a company that does lots of work around the B2B space. Curb your sales messages, their top 5 recommendations, support content with data and research, add insights from industry and thought leaders, make content easy to access. Remember, explain it like you're talking to a 5-year-old, and don't overload with too much copy. Unlike this slide, which is way too much copy, but I kept it right at the end for people who are really sticking around to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming along. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully you've got some value out of this conversation today. If you have, let me know. If you haven't, let me know, and I'll do better next time. And I'll see you next month. Every single month I run webinars for software and technology people. We talk about sales, strategy, marketing, tools, tips, ideas, and all those types of things in between to make sure we add as much value to you as possible. Here's to your success. Bye for now. See ya.